How do you make a person want to live when they have decided to end their lives? If you were talking to a person who has decided to end their lives, or who was telling you that they have made a decision to end their lives, how would you convince them to want to live? This is a very important question, and I don't think it would be right for me to sit here and claim to give you the answer. I don't have the answer for the question. Rather, I'm inviting you to think through it with me. I'm going to share my thoughts with you, and I'm hoping that as I do so, it'll inspire you to think about the same question. How do you convince, how do you inspire a person who doesn't want to live to want to live? I'm not talking about a person who uses suicide as a way of getting attention. I'm not talking about a person who seeks attention by claiming that they want to end their lives. I'm talking about a person who has become resolute in their decision to end their lives, and they are merely just informing you. How do you convince them to want to live? I don't think it's an easy question. And I want to do this by telling you a couple of stories that I'm hoping will give you some perspective. I remember a couple of years ago, I received a message from somebody who is in a different country, and she was telling me all about her life. And she told me that the first time she listened to one of my videos, or watched one of my videos, she was sitting on top of a roof and she was ready to end it all. She was contemplating jumping, and she watched one of the videos and then decided that perhaps she should live another day. I don't know which video it was. I don't know exactly what I said. But I was really grateful because she said that she has never looked back ever since. And then sometime later, I told that story to someone else. And as I was telling them the story, they asked me if I could speak to a relative of theirs who was contemplating taking their own lives, or rather ending their own lives. And I was hesitant about it. And if I'm being honest with you, I decided that it's a bad idea for me to do that, because the truth is, I don't know how to make someone want to live. Which is funny, because I get a lot of messages, I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of people reaching out to me and saying, I'm only alive because I listened to what you said. I'm still living today because you spoke to me through one of your videos, or you spoke to me when you came to the church, or you spoke to me when you were at that event. I get that a lot. For some reason, God has used me in different occasions to speak to people and convince them to want to live and give them the will to live. But I still don't think I know how to make a person want to live. I really don't think so. As a matter of fact, anytime that I'm asked to speak to someone, as an individual who is contemplating ending their lives, I'd rather not. And the reason I'd rather not is because I don't know what to say. I'll tell you the truth. I don't know what it is that I say. I don't know what it is that I do that makes a person who doesn't want to live change their minds. I really don't. And perhaps as you're watching this right now, you're saying, I know exactly what to say. And that's good. That's good for you. And you can share that with me, because I personally do not know that. And I'll take it a step further and tell you this. I've never really been at a point in my life, or rather been to a point in my life where I really wanted to end my life. I've never been to that point, and thank God for that. I've never been to a point where I felt like death was better than living. But I have had a moment, and I want to tell you about this because I think it's important. I've had a moment in my life where I was going through some really terrible things, and as I was going through these things, for a moment I thought to myself, surely it would be better to die than to live. And I realized in that moment, as I caught myself, because the Bible says that you should take your thoughts captive, and as I took that thought captive, I realized that I didn't really want to die. I didn't want to leave this earth. What I wanted was to kill my problems, not myself. I didn't want to kill myself. I wanted to kill whatever the problems were. I wanted to kill this pain that I was experiencing. And I think that is the distinction. I think that's the difference. I think most people who want to end their lives simply just want to kill the pain. They simply just want to put an end to the pain, not necessarily to their lives. And so if I'm talking to someone right now who is on the verge of ending their own lives, I'd want to suggest that perhaps it's possible that you don't really want to end your life. You really just want to end the pain that you're experiencing, or you really just want to put an end to the season that you've been in or the circumstances that you've been going through. It's not necessarily about your life itself. Life is good. Life is good. Everything that you get to experience, the laughter, sometimes the tears, love, passion, all of these things are amazing. The joy of experiencing relationship, the joy of experiencing companionship, the joy of experiencing the fulfillment of potential. All of these things are amazing, and I don't necessarily think that you want to give all of that up. I think you just want to give up some of the burden that you carry. I don't think you want to end your life. I think you just want to put an end to the burden you've been carrying. And I do believe that this is the case for a lot of people. And yet at the same time, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this as a way to convince you to want to live. I don't know. I still don't know exactly how it is that you convince a person to want to live. But I know that the reason I want to live is because I live with this constant expectation that things do get better. But more than anything, I have learned that perhaps ending your life is too permanent an action. It's too permanent an action. You can't reverse it. You can't undo it. Sometimes you make mistakes and you can fix them, but that's one mistake that you cannot fix. And so I would suggest that a person who is in that position would put it off as long as possible, put off that decision as long as possible, and hold off just to see if your situation can get any better, because I really do believe that it can. And one of the mistakes that we make is looking at our lives being in seasons of our lives and thinking of those seasons as lifetimes. But seasons are just seasons. It's merely just a season. You don't throw away a whole book just because you made a mistake on a page. You made a mistake on a page, you turn over and you leave, and you try again. But you don't necessarily rip apart the whole book simply because one page had a mistake on it. And that's perhaps one way to look at your life. I want to finish this off by telling you a story from the Bible of a man called Elijah. And I find the story of Elijah very fascinating because he's a man of God, right? He's a man of God. He's a man who loves God. He's a man who has a very inspiring story in terms of the things that he has done, the things that he has accomplished, the things he's done for God. And his story is interesting in the sense that he got to a point in his life where he wanted to end his life. He wanted to be dead. And this is after he had performed one of the greatest miracles that are recorded in the Bible, and he still felt overwhelmed to the point where he wanted to die. It was fear that had gripped his heart. He was threatened by Jezebel, and he ran for his life until he couldn't run anymore, and he decided that he wants to die. And the way that he went about it was he isolated himself first and foremost. He was with his servant, and he said to his servant, "You wait over here. I'm going to go a little bit further into the bushes." And when he was far enough, he laid down and he prayed that he might die. He said, "God, end my life right now. Take it. I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore." And he went on to fall asleep. And as he laid there sleeping, the Bible says that an angel of God woke him up and said to him, Eat something. Made a miraculous provision of food and some water. Said, "Eat something and drink something." He ate and drank and then went back to sleep again. And he was woken up a second time to say, "Eat, drink." And the reason behind the eating and the drinking, the feeding of his body, the nourishment of his body, was because the angel said to him, the journey ahead is still long. The journey ahead is still long. And it's unfortunate that when a person is in that position, you can't say to them that it's over. You can't say to them that the worst is over. You can't always say that. Sometimes it just begun. Sometimes you're talking to a person who just got into a season and it's really about to get worse. And so we can't console someone or comfort someone by telling them that it's almost over and you're about to enjoy your life. The journey ahead might still be long. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is feed yourself, to feed your spirit, to feed your body, to take care of yourself, to do your best for yourself, to do your best to make sure that you don't let fear in, you don't let anxiety in, you don't let these negative emotions in, you don't let these negative thoughts win the day, that you battle, you do war, right? You wage war against every single negative thought that comes to mind. Sometimes it's as simple as saying to yourself no as you catch yourself in the middle of a bad thought. It's as simple as just saying no, I refuse to think about this. But above everything, I don't know if this video is helpful, if I'm being honest with you, because it's really just me saying I don't know if there is a way that I can tell you to always make a person want to live. But the best thing that I can do is just, in some way, share a little bit of inspiration, share a little bit of hope, share a little bit of expectation of a better future than our current reality. And eventually, things do work out. And I've never met a person who made a decision to rather live and regretted it. I've never met a person who went against their idea of ending their lives and regretted it. I have never in my life met a person who said, let me try to live, and then went on to regret it. It's always the best decision. Can't think of a better decision when you're in that position. So, may God bless you. May God help you. And if you're in that position, the same to you. Let's hang on a little bit. One day I might meet you, or the next time that you see me might be on video again. And I'm hoping that you get to the next video. I'm hoping that you get to the next time that we might meet, the next time that we might cross paths. And I'm hoping to hear your story saying, I decided to give it a chance. Just give life a chance.
When you change your thoughts, you change your life. This is Thoughts That Count with Poloko.